Hi, today we're doing another deconstructing questions video and we're looking at Pearson Edexcel Level 2 paper from June 2018. So as before with these videos, I'm just going to choose a few questions that I think are particularly good to kind of analyse. So we're going to start off with question 4 and we'll see if we can get this up here so we can see almost all of the question. Okay, so we'll read through the question, then we're going to look at how we can break it down into parts. Well, actually, the first thing we're going to look at is how many marks we've got. You can see we've got a 5-mark question, so we know we're going to have to do a fair amount of work. Okay. The Lawson family want to go to the safari park. They see this offer, or this online offer. So we've got admission prices. We've got adults, children aged 3 and over, children under 3, senior citizens and family tickets. And for each of those we've got a peak price and an off-peak price. And we're told that peak means Saturday and Sunday and off-peak means Monday to Friday. So it's well worth kind of understanding what all this information is telling us before we start. And we've got another comment down here: buy online and save 18% off the normal ticket price. The Lawson family are 2 adults, 2 children over the age of 3 and 1 senior citizen. So we've got 2 adults, 2 children over the age of 3 and 1 senior citizen. They will visit the safari park on Sunday, so that's going to be important for us. And Mrs. Lawson uses the online offer to pay for the tickets for all the family. Right, so we're going to be using this deal here. She wants to pay as little as possible. And the question here is, how much will Mrs. Lawson pay in total for the tickets? Right, okay, so let's see. We're going to start by thinking, what are all the steps in this question that we're going to have to do? So we know that we've got 5 marks. So, well, I suppose the first thing we're going to think of, and I'll just try and find some space to write this. Let's do it down here. We're going to start. The first thing we need to know is, well, sort of who's in the family, or what are the ticket costs for the individual members. Okay, so we're not going straight to the end, we're not looking at what the total is, we're not looking at the offers, we're saying, what about the individual people, how much for each of those? Okay, and then once we've got that, I suppose we're going to be thinking, well, we're going to want the total of those prices, but also we've got this family ticket here. So we're going to be saying, compare the total of the individual prices with a family ticket. Which one's going to be a better offer? Now, the family ticket is 2 adults and 2 children. We've got 2 adults, 2 children and a senior citizen. But that's fine, because we if it's cheaper, we could still buy a family ticket and then add on the senior citizen ticket afterwards. So we'll have to look at that. Once we've got that, we're going to want the total cost, including the senior citizen. We don't want to forget about them. Right. At that point, we'll have a total cost, but we won't have done anything about this offer. Okay, so to take into account the offer, we're going to need to work out 18% of the cost. And then finally, once we've got that, we can deduct the 18% from the previous answer. Okay, so we're planning it all out. Now we can start to answer the question. So first thing we said, well, what are the ticket costs for the individual members? Right, well, if you remember, they're looking to go on a Sunday. Sunday is in the peak, so we're going to be looking at these prices. So actually, we can forget about those. Okay, now we've got 2 adults. So we're going to have 2 of these. So we can have 2 times £17.80. And we've got 2 children over the age of 3. So age 3 and over. So we're going to have 2 times £12.50. And then we've got 1 senior citizen. And that's this down here. But before we think about the senior citizen, remember we want to do a comparison. Well, we've got the individual ticket prices. So we've done part 1. Part 2, compare the total of the individual prices with the family ticket. So we want to know how much these 4 cost in total. So let's have a go at working these out. So we've got 2 lots of £17.80. That's £35.60. Let's put that in our memory. And we can clear that. And then we've got 2 tickets, £12.50, which gives us £25. Now we can add on what we put in the memory. So we've got a total of £60.60. That's if we buy these 4 tickets on their own. But the family ticket is £56. So we're going to want to go with the family ticket. Okay, so now if we look down here again, for step 3, we want the total cost including the senior citizen. So we've said we're not going to use this one because we're going to use this instead, the £56. So we want £56 plus the senior citizen, which is the £13.50. Now we can use a calculator, or we can look this up. So we've got £69.50. Now that's our total cost, including the senior citizen. Then we said we need to work out what 18% is, because we're going to be taking 18% off of this. So we're going to want 18%, so 18 over 100, and multiply that by the £69.50. Okay. So calculator again, 18 divided by 100, multiplied by £69.50, and that gives us £12.51. And the final step, we said, well, now we've worked out that 18%, we need to take that off the £69.50. So we're going to have £69.50 minus £12.51. Well, we can put the £12.51 into the memory and say we want £69.50 minus the memory, which gives us a total of £56.99. So the next question we're going to have a look at is question 7 here. So we've got the Lawson family live 65 miles from the safari park. They will leave the park at 3:30 p.m. The average speed of the journey home will be 50 miles per hour, and they need to arrive home by 4:45 p.m. Will the Lawson family arrive home by 4:45 p.m? So, again, we're looking at the marks. We've got 4 marks, so we think we've got sort of roughly 4 things to do. Well, if we want to know if they're going to be home in time, we need to work out what time they're going to be home by, so we can then compare it to this 4:45. If we want to know what time they're going to be home, well, we know how far it is, but we want to know how long it's going to take to travel this distance. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing we do. So how long to travel 65 miles? Well, once we've got that, that's going to be time, how long it takes. But we're going to get the time probably in hours. Okay, because we've got miles per hour. So everything's going to be in hours. But actually what we want the time to be in is hours and minutes. So we're going to need to convert the time, or the duration, which is how long it took, into hours and minutes. Once we've got it in hours and minutes, well, then we can add this duration to the starting time, to the 3:30 p.m. And the final thing we'll do is we'll compare the time above, so the time that we just work out, with 4:45 p.m. and make our decision. So we've got our 4 points, our 4 steps. Let's start answering. So how long is it going to take to travel 65 miles? Well, they're travelling at 50 miles in 1 hour. Now, it's often helpful to remember this little table. And I always like to think of it as, well, if I want to know how far I'm travelling, so I think of the distance, well, it's going to be the speed I'm going at multiplied by the time I'm going for. Okay, so we've got distance is speed times time. But what this also means is if we want to work out one of the others, so we want to know how long it's going to take, so the time, well, it's going to be the distance divided by speed. Okay, so we can say time is distance divided by speed. In this case, the distance is 65 miles and the speed is 50 miles per hour. So we put this in our calculator, 65 divided by 50, that gives us 1.3. So it's going to take us 1.3 hours. That's not 1 hour and 30 minutes, it's 1.3 hours. We're in decimals at the moment. Okay, if we want to turn that into minutes, also the hours, well, hours and minutes, we'll turn it into minutes first. Well, we know there's 60 minutes in an hour. So if we multiply this by 60, we will get the total number of minutes. Okay. Now, we've got 78 minutes. Really, we want to turn that into hours and minutes because we know 78 is more than 1 hour. Well, if we take off 60, because there's 60 minutes in an hour, we've got 18 minutes left. So that's going to be 1 hour and 18 minutes. Okay, so we've worked out how long it's going to take. We've converted that into hours and minutes. We now want to add that to our starting time. So we've got, let's move this up here. We've got our 3:30 and we want to add on an hour and 18 minutes. 0 and 8 is 8, 3 and 1 is 4, and 3 and 1 is 4. So we've got a time of 4:48 and that's still going to be PM. Well, that is after 4:45 p.m. So will they arrive home by 4:45 p.m? No. Okay, so we've just broken it down, planned what we were going to do first, gone through step by step. It's not the only way to answer the question, but I think this is a nice, clear way to do it. Also, if you get sort of stuck partway through, we've been labelling as we're going, been putting our units in, so it means we can pick the question up again if you did happen to leave it and want to come back later on. And the final question we're going to look at in this paper is question 9. Now, I remember when this paper was first attempted, this was a particularly nasty question that people didn't like, but it doesn't need to be. So we're going to show how we can make this a lot more accessible. So question 9. The residents decide to have a lake in the park. There will be a grass path around the lake. The lake will be circular with a diameter of 95 metres, so that's this white bit here. The grass path will be 4 metres wide, so this is our grass path going around the outside. And it says Josh has this sketch of the lake and the path. We're also reminded that the area is equal to pi times r squared. And we know that A is the area of the circle and r is the radius of the circle. They've also told us that we can use 3.14 for pi. Diagram not accurately drawn. In this case, this isn't really relevant. Normally that would mean you can't just measure it and use your ruler, but we're going to be using our formulas anyway here. So Josh needs to order enough grass seed for the path around the lake. Work out the area of the path for Josh. Okay, so we need to work out the area of this sort of shaded area around the outside, but we don't want this bit in the middle. Well, how are we going to do that? And again, we'll look at the number of marks. We've got 5 marks there. So let's think. Well, the first thing we're going to do, well, if we're working with these circles, the formula we've got, and this is a nice clue that we're going to have to use the formula, has got an R in it, radius. Now, we haven't got a radius at the moment, so we're going to need to work that out. So, well, actually, we're going to need to work out the radius, but we've also got more than one circle here. So, we're going to want to work out the radius of, well, I suppose let's do one at a time. First of all, we're going to say of the small circle. So that's going to be this white one. Now, the reason we're doing this is, well, if we want the area of the outside, we've got to think of it as, we don't know a way of just working out this bit on its own. So instead, we've got to think of it as one big circle with everything, and then we take away the circle in the middle. So we're going to work out the area of here, take it away from the big one. So we're working out the radius of this, but then also we want to work out radius of large circle. So maybe it might have made more sense if I did the large circle first, because that's the one we're going to start with. Okay, but doesn't matter which way around, so long as we've got both of them. Once we've got the area of both of them, well, then we're going to want to work out, once we've got the radius, we can then work out the area. And we can keep it in this order. We can work out the area of the small circle. And we're also going to work out the area of the large circle. And our final step will be subtract smaller area from the larger area. So let's start doing this. Well, we've got the diameter at the moment, and the radius is half of the diameter. So we can take our 95 and divide that by 2. So we've got this distance is 47.5 meters. Now we want the radius of the larger circle. So we're going from the center all the way out to the outside. Well, we already know that this bit is 47.5 meters because we worked that out. Then we've got an extra 4 meters to add on. So this one is going to be 47.5 plus 4, which gives us 51.5 meters. Okay, so we've done first bit and the second bit. Now we want to work out the area of the small circle. Well, we're told that it's A equals pi r squared. So A, and I'll put small so we know which one we're talking about, is pi. We're told that pi is 3.14. And when we've got a symbol next to a letter, or a letter next to a letter, we need to multiply them. So it's going to be 3.14 times. Now r squared is going to be r times itself. So 47.5 times another 47.5. You can work out the r squared first, but it doesn't, because they're all multiplied together, it doesn't matter which order we do it. So 3.14 times 47.5 times another 47.5. And that's going to be 7,084.625 in its area, so it's going to be meters squared. I'm going to keep all my decimal places for now. Now we also want the area of the large circle. So the pi bit stays the same, but the radius for the large circle is now 51.5, and that's squared still, so times another 51.5. So 3.14 times 51.5 times 51.5. And we get 8,328.065. And again, that's meters squared. Okay. Now, because we want just the shaded area, as we said, we want the area of the big circle, take away the area of the smaller circle. So we can put area of the path is going to be 8,328.065 minus 7,084.625. Well, we've already got this number in here. I should have put the other value in my memory, but I forgot to, so we can type it in instead. And we get 1,243.44, and that's meters squared. Okay, so hope you found the video helpful. Again, I wouldn't expect you to write all of these workings out, all of these steps here, but it's showing you the thought process that you need to go through. Getting it down on paper can help, especially when you're practicing, so that you make sure you don't miss anything out. You don't want to be doing too much work or not enough, so thinking about those steps, thinking about the marks, and this should be good preparation for you. Okay, so please subscribe to my channel, have your notifications on so you get updates when I load more videos, like, comment, and hopefully see you again soon.